And for all audience here, thank you for being here. And the topic we're going to talk about is about balancing individuality and need to belong, peer pressure dilemmas. Before that, I'm gonna share like a background check why this topic is interest to me to talk about this because during English practice exam in my school, or known as ujian praktik bahasa Inggris. So my team and I have to debate, and the topic is about peer pressure is a good thing, and that's really interesting for me because now I'm in a grad 12, so I'm counting months to acceptance in the uni, and I want to know like all there's perspective about how is peer pressure works like that. How is the perspective or how the form of peer pressure, so I can see like what I have to do in the future like that. So as Mr. Sunshine said, so how can I survive in the friendship, how can I what I have to do in the family's culture, in a teenager, in adults, as adolescent like that. So I hope that each of you will be motivated and eager sharing your perspective. So you can like raise your hands up when I speech, or when I done my speech. And yep, so let's move on to the first slide. Yes, so let's unite our mind in the horizon of thinking what is peer pressure like that, so we not have misunderstood of this phrase. So peer pressure is about a feeling that one must do the same thing as the other peoples of one age or and a social group. And so we can conclude that from these three dictionaries, peer pressure is something that is abstract. It's not that real someone press or stress you to do A, to do B, like they force you. It's not, because peer pressure is about a feeling, an impact, an effect, like a strong influence of the group. For example, it's like she started drinking in high school because of peer pressure. So the high school mate is not literally force her to drink an alcohol. It's just about like when you hang out together and you feel like, oh, my best friends like drink an alcohol, and I want to do the same like that. It's like just an abstract society flows. And I'm gonna give like a real case recent in the world. So I've been searched like a journal in the internet, and I found that the most peer pressure in the case around the world is about social media influence and academic pressure. If you can see on the slide, that these studies talk about impact of peer pressure among risk-taking behavior in adolescents in various European countries. So it's in the Europe. And what's the fun thing about the peers do have some effect on the risk-taking behavior. And it's not about the peer pressure itself. It's about perception of peers, about the emotion or the gender of peers. So, that's really interesting for me. We found it like, oh, I want to be myself. I want to keep my individuality like that. I know, like, we want to keep my belongs, right? But like the journal said that the peer pressure itself, it really have an effect. So we want to discuss about that. So we're gonna move on. The questions that we're gonna do is that, is there a difference between the influence of healthy peer pressure or detrimental or harmful peer pressure? So how can you tell it? How can you define this is good peer pressure, this is a bad peer pressure? Is there anyone want to answer that questions? Like, how can you tell that? Like, how do you know, like, when you got that society, like, oh, I think it's bad for me, and or is it good for me? How do you define that? Hmm. It's maybe Mr. Bobby want to answer that.
I think you can go ahead first to the others.
All right. Anyone? Like how we know how to distinguish, like maybe for example, like in my school, like when someone uh you know like they do have prepared their task for the exam or like for the uni, I feel like I being influenced by them to study. Hello. Sorry, I think like I have a bad connections. Can you hear me right now?
Yes, yes, it's audible.
All right. So I think there's someone who raised hand, but I cannot see the name because I'm sorry, the connections. Okay, Miss Apria. So what do you think about this?
I think it depends on our own perspective. Like, when we influence about a positive thing, well, it's gonna be a healthy peer pressure. But if we influence by a bad thing or bad habit that do, so it's gonna be like a really bad peer pressure. So it's depend on what we believe, I think, because everyone have their own perspective, and we can't blame them for why did you do that, why did you do that, right? So we can't blame them because it's depend on their perspective. So we can judge them because yeah, it's depend, or maybe like they want to do something that, wait a minute, I have to think about this. Maybe they're just really introvert, and they inspired to do that because of their friends, and we can't blame them. Why don't you hang out with us? Maybe they have something to do on their own, so we can't blame them. Well, it's not a healthy peer pressure, we can't say that, so yeah, I think it just depends on their personality.
Okay, thank you, Miss Apria. Yeah, that's a really I really understand and I get your point. Like I do the same thought about that. So I think like it depends on our beliefs and our perspective about this is a real positive or not in our beliefs. Yeah. There's any others opinion about that, or like do you have other opinion, like maybe you can try with me? Miss Sofia.
Uh,
Uh, yes. For me, if we see in like what is it? Relative, like in a real way, we can see the real impact, like for the future. For example, okay, I'm sorry, it's kind of cons from Apriya, but in my opinion, for example, you have a peer what was it? Peer pressure to drink alcohol. Maybe okay, let's say because it's of stress, because it's good for her at that time, but in the future maybe it will be bad if you're doing too much. So I think I would say that how we know it's bad or good is how we see the impact in the future, in my opinion.
Yes, yes. So we cannot see like how is it goes right now. So we can see like in the future what this impact on yourself. So it's not like on your belief. So we see like in the future what this effect has an impact in ourselves, right? Yes. Yeah, that's really interesting answer. Is there anyone to answer? Like how do you define the healthy peer pressure or detrimental or like a harmful peer pressure? Yes, Mr. Sunshine.
I'm kind of interested in the opinions of Noviani. Well, okay, but can I say that there is different situations, like exceptional circumstances, where what we do now, even though it seems detrimental, but somehow it turns out to bring more significant benefits in the future, and vice versa. So I can say that what we need to see is to live the present. What we need to evaluate is to see what's the real time impact for us. Because at the time, the moment we think that there only be detrimental impacts, then there is no way we can take some benefits or focus on the benefits, because we need to focus on how we can how to say it's like see the opportunities, because probably similar situations won't happen twice in the future. So at the very moment, it is crucial for us to take actions by calculating, of course, not only future but also the present, because present what determines the future. I think that's my comment.
Yeah, I think your answer is like combination of Miss Apria and Miss Noviani. That's really interesting. Okay, so is there anyone who willing to disagree or maybe support the opinion? Yes, Miss Apria. You want to add something?
I want to add my opinion to make my opinion stronger. So, for an example, we influence to do like for an example, like TikTok, right? TikTok, they said that it has a bad impact for us because it wastes a lot of time. It's make us insecure sometimes. So, but for me, it's also have like the positive impact because with doing TikTok, we got a lot of information about a scholarship. We got information about for an example like program that we can join. So because all of the like how do we say lembaga? Because a lot of in scholarship lembaga do a lot of promotion
Instancy.
through TikTok, through Instagram. So we can't deny that internet having a just a bad impact. It's also have a good impact in it. So I mean, like it depends on our perspective. Even it has a bad impact for us. It's also have a good impact for us. So I think we can't blame them like why do you do TikTok? Why do you do a lot of Instagram? We can't blame them because it also has a positive impact behind that. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Yes, that's so captivating. Yes, I agree with that. So it's literally like based on what we need. Yeah, right. So like, what can we what is beneficial for me, like man behind the gun, so like that. So what can we do from that TikTok application? And this is like a great pressure, like a great peer of that, or is it is like bad for us? Okay, that's interesting. So
Really,
uh,
can I ask something?
yeah, sure. Hmm.
I always, I mean, your face is not similar for me. I always I sometimes I saw your face before we meet here. Are you a TikToker or something? If I can if I can
And
ask.
me, I'm not. I have a TikTok, but I'm not a TikToker that have a million or like followers like that. No,
Oh, I see.
it's like
Maybe
a
it
sim.
has like yeah, same appearance with you.
Um, okay, but that's not me. Okay, maybe you have to like send me the TikTok then. Like maybe I know that girl. All right. So, is there anyone to add your opinion? Um, I think like from the four speakers, we can conclude like it's back to our belief what we can see in the future and what we're gonna do about that, how we can control about it. So that's how the abstract peer pressure can we do about. So we move on the next slide. Um, here. I want to know, like, all of you guys' perspective. Do you agree or disagree? Or do you even have other opinion about these two statements? So we've talked about how is the bad and the good peer pressure for you. Now we can uh we want to know. I want to know, like, what do you think where this peer pressure happen? Is peer pressure more prevalent in adolescent but persists throughout adulthood in various form, like peer pressure is just in adulthood and so on, like in adults, yeah, adulthood, teenager, and so on? Or peer pressure itself is a phenomenon that exists from birth, like starting with family's influence, like when you went to the kindergarten and you feel like all of your friends have a Smiggle, have a Tupperware, and you feels like, oh, I wanna have that things like that. Is it for you as a peer pressure that we got from we birth, like when like in the kindergarten or like elementary school, or it just like from the teenager, like an adulthood in various form? What do you think? Which one do you like? Uh, have a pro or con with this statement? Like where this peer pressure is exactly come from? Yes, Miss Apriya.
I think it's from the both ways. we started to do the same thing, like what our parents do, right? And then when we grow up, I met my friends, especially my high school friends. They influenced me to do a makeup, to do skincare, and then to do a to watch a drama. When before I go to my high school, I never know something like that. But my friends introduced me for something like that, and now I became influenced by them. So I think it's both. I think it's both, from home and also from outside. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Okay, what an elaborative explanation. So I can assume that it's like a parallel, like a parallel pressure like that, yeah. All right, so for Mr. Magala, am I say the
Yeah,
wrong name? Magala?
Majal. It's Majalo.
Magalo.
So
All right.
yeah, I also second the statement of the previous speaker that both statements are correct because first but I think we need to emphasize the prevalence of peer pressure in the adolescent stage because so during the adolescent stage like people or young people are in their developmental stage in their their brain development, so probably they are confused like what's my identity, what's my sexuality, what path of life that I'm going to go through, so probably they are more vulnerable in that state. But probably when you're from the birth, I think we it's a matter of definition and the concept of peer pressure we are going to apply here. Because if we conceptualize peer pressure that a person have this kind of choices, because despite you have peer pressure, you still have choice whether to do it or not, right? But the thing is, there's like a temptation to do it, or there's a kind of pleasure if you will drink alcohol, if you will do this or that. But I cannot remember anything that I'm pressured when I was a baby, right? Like when I'm eating eating baby food and my mother asked me what kind of shirt do you want, pink or blue? I never have the pressure to wear blue because I'm a boy, or because I'm a baby boy. Even now I'm a baby boy, but I'm but I don't really remember. Probably peer pressure derives from that specific consciousness when people can have this kind of decision making whether or not they will choose this path or whatnot.
Yeah, I really got your point. Yeah. Yes, that's really interesting. So I want to know from the Mr. Someone's there. Do you agree with Miss Medela, or do you have any perspective about that?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, to my opinion, the peer pressure first, um, it is, to my opinion, like coming from ourselves, like um, starting from comparing, to my opinion, like, and it can apply whether you are in a childhood or in an adult level, because you start comparing. Maybe you first like seeing and then you realize something, oh, why I cannot be something like this, as you compare to others. That's what I'm thinking about the peer pressure. However, the peer pressure itself can be positive, can be negative. It also um, back to the way you digest and decide as a leader. So, for instance, let's say I have some peers, they already get married, I have babies, and I start to compare why in my condition I'm not married yet, and blah blah blah. It can create like pressure um, to be someone else like them. But if I have a control as well, and I agree with Mr. before the Magello that we have the decision whether it can translate it into something positive or negative. For example, in that case, I can also think that yeah, it's okay because perhaps I cannot have the luxury what I have right now because if I were in that condition. So yeah, I think the point that I want to make here, like um, I think it can happen in any level of life, the cycle, but it's also come back to how leadership in ourselves respond in that situation. Thank you.
I see, I see. Yeah, I think that's the level start the peer pressure will differ from the one with the other person. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, yeah. So it's in a different level. Right, right. Okay, is there anyone? I think I wanna heard the opinion from Mr. Reddy. Are you there, Mr. Reddy? What's your
Yeah, I'm
opinion?
okay. I'm here, but I don't think I'm gonna give my opinion because I'm doing my final assignments tonight. Maybe I'm just here first. If I have any question, I'm gonna give to you. Thank you so much.
All right, noted. Maybe from uh Mr. Wendy, are you there? Mr. Wendy, what do you think about where did the peer pressure happen? Do you agree that it happened from birth, or you have the other opinion that it's different from other people's? I think seems like Mr. Wendy have a bad connection or something. Or for me, it's not Fiani. Do you want something to tell? Do you have something to tell?
Okay, for me, I think the peer pressure start from when you can pick something, when you can have freedom to choose. It's not freedom. Yeah, I think you can choose like is it either bad or good. I don't really know the range of age or period that you start, but for me, when you can think that I think this is bad for me or this is good for me, but you have a peer pressure to choose one, that's where it starts. Yeah, I can do the range actually.
So we can choose like when the peer pressure that like is going to start like that. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like when we start thinking, maybe we can choose like something big. Okay, my friend, for example, my friends in kindergarten have a pink bag, but I don't really want a pink bag. But they
Mm,
have a pink bag. That's already you already got a peer pressure.
yeah, I got your point. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So peer pressures we yeah the conclusion for all of the speaker that we can control where it is come, like we can from the other peoples we can level it in the same way, like peer pressure is from birth, from just like adulthood, like we have a different pace of peer pressure.
Mm-hmm.
It's we can control that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you have something to add or not?
I think that's all.
Okay, that's really great. Okay, um all right. Slides. Okay, this is the next slides. I want to know, maybe you can share like have you ever experienced peer pressure in your group or environment, maybe like in school, in college, work, family, relatives, like there's a culture that you didn't want to do it, but you know because of the peer pressure, like all of your relatives do that and you want to do that, you have to do it, you know. And or like in school maybe, or like in a college, so we can like sharing the experience, and like the others uh will know like, oh, so this is how it works, like that in the like in the workplace, or like in the school place, like that. From I think from Mr. I think like there's someone just new here. Mr. Miss Mahia, are you there? Or Miss Farah?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes. What do you think? Have you ever experienced peer pressure in your group or environment, like a feeling, a strong influence by the social group at your age like that in your work, school, or college? Hmm? Or the others? Yeah. Hmm. Sorry, is my voice clear?
Perhaps I will listen to others first. Thank you for
Okay.
give me time.
Yes, Miss Apria.
So like what I told you before, I introduced by my friends about the makeup, right? Before that, I never even do that. But because my friends do a lot of makeup, they even put a lens in their eyes, and I feel like I'm kind of insecure because of it at that moment. But I didn't catch that as the unhealthy peer pressure. I think it's a very healthy peer pressure for me because I like to do it too. So yeah, I think the unhealthy peer pressure, in my opinion, is when we don't like to do it. But my peer pressure that I experienced before is experiencing my teenager experience in my high school. I think it is really healthy because I like to do it too. So yeah, that's my opinion.
Oh, so you never feel like torn between maintaining your individuality and to, like uh conforming or adjusting to other peer pressure expectations. So you never have that feeling in your like school and your today's college like that. So you have a great peer like that. That's great.
Yeah, but at first, I'm feeling like I kind of insecure because of my friends can do it, but I can't. So that's why I got influenced by them. But I think like seiring waktu berjalan, I feel like I like to do it too. So yeah, that's what I saying that it's a healthy peer pressure for me because it's became uh it's became my hobby too right now. So yeah.
Yeah, I think you can see like those things as in a positive way, and I love to hear that. So yeah, yeah, that's a great. Uh, do you want to add some? All right. Um, from the others, maybe Mr. Majella, do you want to share your personal experience when you felt torn between maintaining your individuality or
Yeah.
something?
I am pressured to answer the question. Like, just kidding. So I think there in society, right? I think there is something, social pressure. Like at this specific age, you have to be like this, you have to be like that. So in the family, like probably as the oldest child, right? In the family, I have to set standard or whatnot. So I think at some point, probably that's the pressure that I am receiving, that I um have to be this. Sorry for the lack of better term. So and yeah, I think I will just add later. But of course, I think probably all of us have experienced this peer pressure at some point in our life, probably in high school, in college, or even after graduating. Right, we have this in the workplace, we have this peer pressure to to do something good for our institutions. So yeah, I think that's it.
Hi,
Okay.
Fel. Is there? Fel?
Hello, hello.
Okay.
Sorry, my connection, but I can still hear your voice, but just like lagging here, like I cannot touch the screen. Yes, yes. So, Mr. Majula, I want to ask something. So, when you feel like you have to accept that you want to do this, you want to do that, but you feel like that, is it like you feel like you are willing to do that, or you like in your deep heart you like, oh, I really hate to blah blah blah, but okay, I'll do it like that. So are you
Yeah.
willing, like, fine, or like how is it feeling? How is it?
Oh, most of the sometimes I'm saying sometimes that I'm just doing something because it's a necessity. Like it's a necessity that I should be doing in part of my role, right? As probably as an employee, or as the first child, or as the best friend of someone else. Like I think I have this specific responsibility for someone, even if it's not really personally, on a personal note, it's not what makes me satisfying in my end, but I have to do it because it is expected from me. So I think most of the times I have that dilemma of doing things. But yeah, I think it's a case to case basis. At the end of the day, I cannot generalize it that I'm doing all the things, like Ismael or Mr. Sunshine is spamming me, join OTA session on Sunday on Sunday. Yeah, but it's I am coming here because I think I will learn. I will have that new learning every weekend. So something like that. It's a case to case basis. It's not really generalized that every time I I am deciding whether or not I will buy in several options. I will now just do it out of just of um
Yeah,
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 that's it.
yeah, I get it, I get it. Yes, yes. So I want to hear from the others opinion. Thank you, Mr. Majola. Are you I want to hear from Miss Farah. Are you there, Miss Farah?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear my voice?
Yes. So, well, what do you think? Have you ever experienced peer pressure in your life, like in the school environment or work family, or something that you feel torn about that?
Oh, yeah, I've been there in these situations when I feel like I get a pressure from my friends. I mean, like, and indirectly get it. So it was the time when I'm still I'm in like in the middle of my college time, around semester 5, I guess. I feel like I have two close friends. They both really active in the class, and one of them get a chance to exchange with one of a university in Japan. It was an online time, but it still really uh make me proud as our friends. And one of my friends, the other is one of like a class president. So she really get good recognized from the lecturers. And at the time I feel like I was nothing, because if I try to compare myself with them, I really do nothing. I only like join organizations in the university, so I don't feel like so I was like trying to make myself being recognized by the lecturer. And did I tried my best to be more active in the class, even though it was an online classes. I think that is one of the pressures that I felt. I mean, like I'm still proud of them, but on the other on the other hand, I still feel like, oh, I feel like I don't do anything good for myself. It's I try compared to both of my friends, something like that.
Yes, yes. That's a really great story, Miss Farah. Like, we can learn from that story also, and yeah, that's how I think peer pressure works. But like maybe we can like motivate ourselves from that phenomenon or experience that happened. That's really good. I got your point. Okay, thank you, Miss Farah. We move on to Mr. Sunshine. Yes. What do you think about that?
Okay. I think I just want to align the previous slide with this slide, like talking about how whether or not peer pressure is something we inherited from birth from our parents, or from how they behave in front of us, and how actually the more we engage, the older we become. Somehow does provide some impacts toward us being like preserved or pressed. I would say that there is a transitions between self value or individuals' value, something that we value as beneficial, as a principle, towards social value. So peer pressure is created from social value. Social value somehow affected by how we compare ourselves with others. And that's why there are a lot of examples, like previous speakers have been mentioning, that of course, the moment we compare ourselves with others, our best interests somehow seem negotiable. Means that we become more pragmatic in accepting values that we actually never approved before, because we want to be recognized, like Abraham Maslow psychological theories, that one of the most principal needs of human is that being recognized, being admitted socially, and that's why we leverage these situations to get admission, to get recognition from others, because it's actually powerful in building up our self-esteem and how we can engage with others. And based on this, I think there's also the transitions of consent. Yeah, the consent, because like everyone act based on their interests, and everyone is like their own consents, like what has been stated by Noviani before. It's like whether or not they are volunteer enough, yeah, to do particular activities. So they somehow being pragmatic, because even if they hate it, like for example, in my case, I was like invited to a particular circle. This particular circle is like brag about how cool they are, and somehow I would say yes. Okay, but there are some values where they backstab others. Okay, inside the groups, like how they tend to plan cynical activities just to underestimate others or to look down others. And this really is something that I never approved in the very first hand. But I still want to be included in this circle that I deem pathetic but cool at the same time. So yeah, I think the peer pressure is something negotiable, but the utmost importance would be by how we can reflect, how we can negotiate the values that we can seek off from joining or engaging with them. Okay, I think that's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sachin. Yeah, negotiable is a interesting keywords. Yeah, and I guess your proposal same will work if we have a consent in our life. Like, yeah, have a consent and commitment. What we're gonna take a look in the others, and like we have to know ourselves well. Like know yourself well, and then we can control that. All right. So, is there anyone here want to give the other perspective? Like, would like to speak up from a different point of view, like from experience that you have? I think. Yes, Mr. Reddy, you wanna speak?
Yeah, I want to share you about this question. Have you ever experienced peer pressure in your group or environment? Yes, I did. Like I experienced this when pandemic attacked Indonesia back to 2021, if I'm not mistaken. So I live with my cousin who are an architect, and then I with him at the same age. So now I'm currently 28 years old. And then at the moment I was 26. And I compare myself to him because, I'm working as sales associate at the time, and he's an architect with a lot of job desks to do, working at office and also freelancer. I compare with myself because, I only graduated from high school while he's from bachelor degree with full scholarship. And I sometimes think that my value and then my knowledge is not exactly the same with him, like too far. And then so I decided to think that I have to pursue my dream to continue my education again to higher levels. So I talked to him, what should I do? Because, I sometimes think that my life is also stuck at the same place. I couldn't move forward and I couldn't go back. So I'm thinking a lot, what should I do? Because I'm thinking about my future too. I don't want to be someone who are wasting my time for nothing. So yeah, I decided to continue get my study until now. I did a lot of things. I also joined English course to improve my skill in English, and I joined OTA community for a couple of days ago, I think, and it's really interesting for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reddy. That's really great. We can get the point that the quote, like, we have to move forward and we can go back. That's really great because we can waste our time in this word because times really flies so fast. Yeah, that's really great. That's like a quote. That's okay. Okay. Yes, Mr. Reddy, do you want to add something?
No, 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 no. Thank you.
We're gonna move on into the next slides. I think we have like a new member who joined this. Like hello, Mr. Harris and Mr. Ferdinand, Miss AK and Mr. or Miss GMC5. So we're gonna move into the next slide, and I hope that you can share your opinion in the next slide. So the next slide is that we uh as a human, so we ever felt the peer pressure, right, from our group, like as you guys share the story about, like from the college, from the middle college, from the work, from like a family, like a cousin. But have you ever like intentionally or unknowingly put pressure on the others? So it's not like indirectly you put the pressure, it's like you unknowingly, like, oh, so maybe like your friends say, seems like your friends, let's go like B, so B feels like, oh, me is put pressure on B, and B feels like, oh, oh my gosh, like I don't like how, like, example, like I don't like how Feliza every day like bring a uni book in high school and she learn about that. I don't like, maybe B things like that. And have you ever felt like that, like you unknowingly put the peer pressure into the other people, like, oh, so what I do is like something that being pressured by someone, but I'm not directly to do that, like it's like intentionally flows like that. Have you ever think or like thought about that, like, oh, I put, like it feels peer pressure from the others, like have you ever think or like have a consider about that? Mm, I think I want to hear from Mr. Harris. Have you ever feels like that or think about it?
Yeah, I have. You
What is it?
know, uh, so I so at my old school, I used to have like a pretty close friend, and his English is actually pretty bad. So I was like, you know what, you should learn it much harder so that you would get like better English, so that we have the same English. And then and then I just saw him like staring like, yeah. He's like a bit ashamed because I said that, but he needs to learn also.
Yeah, I get it, I get it. But do you think that that is peer pressure that you say that, or it's just like, uh, do you think it's a pressure or it's not a peer pressure that you say that you have to learn English from your perspective? Yeah, I just asked that. Like,
It's actually a pretty big pressure to him because for him it's kind of hard to pronounce a couple of words. So yeah.
yeah, yeah, I get your point. Okay, thank you, Mr. Harris, for your share your experience about that. We move on to Mr. Reddy. Yes, please.
Yeah, this is interesting for me because I sometimes doing this many times, especially when I was in class. Uh, just like this week, I'm facing middle term examination, I used to open my laptop after the class has been finished, and then my lecturer was giving us assignments, either individual or teamwork. After the class has been finished, I also doing for my assignments and then make a template or point that I gonna put to my assignment. And I talk to my friend, guys, to my teamwork, yeah, guys, I already make template or point on Canva, so please check it out. And then my friend gonna say, please ready, don't rush. I'm gonna take a deep breath first, and then I'm gonna check your assignments. I sometimes, I don't want to waste my time again because due date is only 2 days. So I don't want to do it tomorrow or last minute that I called SKS, sistem kerja kerja semalam. Oh my god, that's not Meryl. So I did it every time.
Yeah, Mr. Reddy. I feel the same way when I at in the high school, like, yeah, we do have a deadline, and I was like, okay, let's finish it like in a week before, but all of my friends like always procrastinating. And you know what, at the end, I do the task by myself, or even like just like a little bit. I just like, I don't like it when my friends like do the same thing like and ask guys, and I have to, you know like force him. And I feel like the result of what I did is like there's a friend who feels like, oh, I have to become like Feliza, like not a deadliner person, but there's still a person who feels like, oh, what is Feliza doing, like there's so much time, like, yeah, that's a perspective that we can argue about that, like it's just like a behavior of people. But yeah, we unknowingly and intentionally give a peer pressure to the others. Yes, thank you, Mr. Reddy.
Okay, maybe I'm gonna give you add one more thing. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because I'm a student at employee class, so the our background is totally different. I am working as front desk, and then I used to one group with my friend who working at embassy Western Australia as director, and also pilot. I know that they're really really busy all the times, so that's why I know exactly that I have a lot of time to do that to finish my assignment. That's why I talked to my friend, let me to do this because I know that you're busy, but all I need is you just have to check is there any spelling who might be worse or something, or any point who might be not really good to put on. Yeah, thank you. That's all.
Yeah, I got your point. Yeah. All right, thank you, Mr. Reddy. That's a really great experience that you share. I want to hear and interest to hear from the other perspective, maybe from Mr. AK. Are you there? Mm-hmm. Are you there? Or you have like a bad connections? Mm, maybe waiting for Mr. AK. Mr. Wendy, are you there? Um. All right. I saw that Mr. Rofianis raised your hands up. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, I want to say my experience is that I know put peer pressure on others. So, I'm kind of person that love to wear revealing clothes. You can say crop tops or hot pants. So, my friend, she was, she's not fat. She's just a little chubby. But I do love working out, and I'm working out on my body so that I want to yeah, I want to other people know that I working out on my body. So she also think this that way. I think like she saw me and said, oh my god, you are my inspiration, like I want to be like you. I don't think that I'm doing that for pressures her, but like I think after that, like she kept asking me, what did you eat, or what video you do for your workout. And yeah, she kept asking me that stuff. I think it's also put pressure on her because uh she's always like use opposite with me, like she always use a full cover clothes thing, like unlike me. she want to do the same way, but like, yeah, she can never do that. But I don't think that I force her to do it, but she like have she wants to do it by herself. Oh my god, this
Yeah,
is sounds narcissistic, but I'm just sharing my experience.
that's fine. You know what? Like, your friend is just like me. I think I also have friends like you. Like, he's a workout girls. Like he always running, and there's like an exam I have to run. Like it's just like 2 kilometer, but I don't have any spirit of that. And because I saw her, I always ask her like, same as you. Like, what did you eat? How can I run with like I have like a short brief, like how do I can read run for 2 kilometers when I can run like that. And I think that's pressure that she can run like in the pace 5, like that's really good, but it's pressure on me because like the result from that test, it will print out our in my school report, and I feel like, oh my god, I cannot get a best score, and I feel pressure about that. But that's great. I can like see the positive way, and I would love to running, but I think not this time. I can still running. Okay. Okay, so next, oh, you changed your name, Miss XXX. Yes, please.
Yeah, thank you. My experience with the peer pressure, especially the classmate, I think like yeah, we are quite small in terms of number in a class, like only 25 or 20, 24 or 25. Yeah, so we of course we want to have the best score, right? All of us, we want to have a good score, the great one. And that's why actually we can play with the lecture, I think. Like, I mean, if the average of the class is bad and the standard is low, so we can have like a good score easily. But sometimes people like on Instagram, especially, they post like, or in a group, like WhatsApp groups, they start asking or talk about the assignment, like, oh, how about the assignment from this? Like, oh yeah, I already started and blah, blah, blah. So, how many pages? And I mean, like the conversation going and okay, you know that your friends try their best. Uh, so it's gonna be like, okay, the standard is gonna be higher. So okay, we should. I mean, like I should also work on this harder to get the A because the standard is at least B with average of the classmates. So I need to work harder. I think that's kind of peer pressure. Or um, for example, I'm doing my thesis, so um, I think some people will just like take it easy, but some like I want to make my thesis the very best and really work on this. And oh my God, I my standard is just like this, but why you put this? So everyone will, I mean, but in the same times, I know it is good. Um, if they have a high standard, the other group, the outsider, will tend to put more effort. And that's why we work together to, like everyone will work toward the A with the high standard. I don't think that I can explain it well. I'm sorry.
But I got your point. Yeah, yeah.
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 Thank
So,
you.
yeah, there's
Yeah,
someone who.
and one more thing, like Mr. Magello explained before, like I think like my friend experienced that, or not Magello, I mean like the Mr. Randy. So my friend and I, we live in a one house, and then because 5 people, and one of them like very someone that if you ask like 2 weeks ahead, he already has the answer, like already planned, or if the thesis deadline is on next month, he already finished it today, something like that. So because he is very smart and he tend to work on something earlier. One of my friend, she is very pressure when she compared to him because she knows that she's not really into academic. She is more into organizing and other things. So yeah, sometimes maybe we need to look into the situation to which moment that it is best to put the pressure. I mean, like pressure can be very positive, but in order to achieve that goals, to create a positive vibe, positive pressure, we need to get to know the situation and the character of our surrounding. Like some people with pressure, they can thrive, but some people, when we put pressure that too much or a little bit much, they instead of they are thriving, they go down. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, I get it. And I think like 2 months is really like a tough, like, well, that's too fast. Like 2 months, you already done the tasks. And yeah, I think like if I were her, like, yeah, I think I got the pressure too, like 2 months and you've done it now. That's impressive actually, but yeah. Okay, I think like Mr. Majula have a different opinion or not. Okay, you may speak.
I think I will stick with the question. If ever I am peer pressuring someone, am I intentionally, do I know it intentionally or unknowingly? I think as someone who lacks self awareness, or I'm just a basic dude, so I really don't know if I'm influencing people. I don't know if um they're copying my red flags, or or they're influencing my good side. Of course, if they're inspired or motivated from me, that will be the biggest flattery on my side. But I don't know on what aspect of my personality they would get pressured or they would get influenced. At the same time, since I lack really self-awareness, and I don't really, not that I don't care, but I don't really mind, people's um their habits or whatnot. I think I'm really unconscious if they are really peer pressured on me, because I don't really check out on people like my friends. Oh, did they affected your habits, or did they affected your routines? Because well, I think it's, if ever, I don't really check on them that much, like their specific activities or how they think. Probably perspective wise, I might influence some, but I don't really check on it like on detail, like, oh, this guy has been, like, probably I've influencing them or I impacted them. If yes, in positive ways, that could be the biggest flattery that I could get. Think.
Yes, all right. Thank you, Mr. Margilla. I got your point. That's so captivating. And from the others, is there anyone to have a want to share like Mr. Margilla said, like intentionally or unknowingly put it, or you didn't realize it like that? Or if there's not, I think we can. Oh yeah, Miss Farah. Yes, please.
Okay, for my own experience about have I ever intentionally or unknowingly put peer pressures on others? Actually, it was happened during elementary school. So me and my peers kind of like having a conversation, kind of like had uh having conversations at the time, and the conversations kind of like went to a time when we are at our house, and how our parents give us treatment, and at the time we kind of like share And my friend kind of like ever said that, you know what, my mother always compare me to you because you already have a good grade, and I kind of like have the same experience where my mother also compare me to the others because they have a good chores. It's something like that happen. So it turns out we being compared to the others a lot unknowingly, and unknowingly we put a pressure to others. So that was kind of like my experience back then. But right now, I don't think give any peer pressure to others.
Yeah, I get it. I used to remember it when it's elementary school. Yeah, that's great. You can share your experience and share to the others. Okay, thank you, Miss Farah. I think we can move on the next slide. So we can talk about peer pressure more deep. So next yes, wait. Yeah, so when you experience peer pressure, are you considering that embracing individuality is more important than fitting with peer group expectation? Or are you the person who are think I have to feel my peers' expectation, like my family expectation, my friends' expectation, because I don't want to feeling left out and I want to fit in with your peers or family's culture. I think that this question I feel like I already got a little bit answer like from Mr. Sunshine like at the first slide when he said like I still want to join the community even though blah 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 blah, and if you have any other experience of that you considering yourself or you wanna fill out your peers expectation. Okay, Mr. Majala, please.
All right. I think I'm more of the former, the first one, the former. I'm more into embracing my own individuality rather than being, drawn in the wave, like because of these are the social norms, this the expect what is expected on you. At least at some point, like I think I have to own, I have to make my own choice at the end of the day. I am trying my best to have that kind of perspective, mentality wise, because yeah, I think I'm not judging people who's into the latter, but yeah, if that's their decision, so it be. But on my own perspective, I think I need to be more like to embrace my who I am. Like I need to have my own decision making. At the same time, I need to not to build my own branding, but I need to have this character. I need to have this character that um I that I think I would be known, right? Like at the end of the day, like I think we need to balance it. It's not really something that you need to be rebellious, that you need to turn down the system because these are the social norms or whatnot. But at the end of the day, I think there's a perfect balance for this. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Mr. Marjala. Yeah, so the priority is still uh self, like yourself, like that. So, is there any others who have a different opinion, or if you like have same opinion as Mr. Marjala, you can add it. Like, why you think like individual is more important than fitting with the peers group? Because maybe you think you have a think like we're in the we're in the society, so we have to fit in all like peers expectation like that, because like we can live without each other, so I have to like make your wish come true like that. Have you ever thought like that, or still like individual is important like that? um is Mr. Ferdinand, are you there? I want to hear from Mr. Ferdinand. Mr. AK, are you there?
Hello, sorry I can be on cam now, but I just trying to catch up about the
Yes.
discussion.
Mhm.
Well, thank you for the question. Maybe I will consider myself is it really matter for me first, or it's not? Sometimes peer pressure also matter for our development or self development, but sometimes most of it is not really matter for us. So um, for now, I consider that it's dependent on ourselves. So I don't really I don't really think about what people think of me. So I don't really care about the peer pressure itself. Maybe it's for me. Thank
That's
you.
that's that's a great and like a compact answer. Yes. In the case, like the must we have to do about it. Like that's our priority. Okay, from Miss XXX. Yes, you can please. What's your opinion about that?
Yeah, I remember actually I'm not part of this peer pressure, but I have a group of friends, and since they are foreigners, so they want to explore Indonesia very much. But they also need to think as a students. They need to think about their finance, right? So there was a time when the group thinking on travel together, but one of them are really trying to save money. And then somehow I can see that this person's got very much pressure to join the traveling. Like, um, yeah, and it happened like once and then twice, and finally I think he started to decide like, okay, with this amount of money I don't think that I will join. I mean, like, sometimes we join kind of event or an agenda just because we want to make someone else happy. I mean, the groups or want to contribute or participate in a group. It's also happened to me a long time ago. Like, I don't really like to climb the mountain. Like, I'm very lazy person. I prefer to go to the beach that I can just enjoy the scenery and everything. But climbing mountain is very dangerous to me. It takes time. I'm gonna be tired and everything. But because the peer pressure, and I just think that okay, I just want to participate. I finally just joined. Yeah, that's my experience with um, yeah, my friend. I think that the example that he finally decided to say no to the groups because the finance.
Yeah, I get it. Like what Mr. Sanchez said, like on the chat, like being a people pleasure, like that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Miss XXX. We move on to Mr. Hades.
So I think for me, I needed to be balanced because if uh if I'm like being just alone, it's just I don't know. There's no there it like there's nothing just to challenge me. So sometimes I I've joined with like something or like some group just to find some challenges. But being alone is actually uh much better for me because like I could like focus on like one thing, and I could just like brainstorming everything and like make sure everything to is done. But for the other option, yeah, I just join like some groups just because like I'm just getting like the best part of it, not the like the random stuff people talk about. I just grab like the things that I need, like the subject that I need. Yeah, just only that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hart. I got your point there. Exactly. I have the same thought as you see, actually, because I feel like yeah, yes, yeah, sometimes like we have to do it like alone, like we being pleasure like when we're alone, but and the other side like I want to join this because of the benefit that I can get it like that. Okay. So Mr. Sunshines, what your thought about it?
It's about okay, there is a selfishness within ourselves, but we want to protect our individual benefits, but at the same time we need to realize we live in the era of collaboration. Okay, we live in the era where networking much more important than embracing our selfish values. So what I'm trying to say is that even though there are some values that you actually hate from one circle to others, but anyway, being left behind equally means that you will have no information regarding um, any pathways that can benefit you in the future. Okay. So what I'm trying to say, I agree with everyone's opinion that saying being in the middle or wasatiyah or being moderate, I think it is very important. Means that even though we are pressed, but we somehow being selective enough, okay, to what extent that we can harness our position as a sometimes an outlier, or sometimes as a expected variable, fixed variable, in fact, influencing the community, influencing the circle themselves. So I would say in these occasions that everyone must determine their best interest first, okay, for joining, because um, it is due to just like what happened to Hara's situation, where he finally left behind, like feeling lonely. Okay, okay, there is a difference between lonely and alone. Yeah, I mean, like when lonely means that you have not no one beside you, but alone means that sometimes you are in the crowd but you feel alone. Okay. So yeah. So I think being alone, even though like in the middle of circle, is somehow important. It's just like to maintain our sanity, regardless of how messed up the community we live in, we engage in. So yeah. Um, so prioritizing the lines between our benefits, um, our current social benefits, and also future benefits is something that probably make us more pragmatic, embracing the values, embracing the peer pressure, even though we do not like it so much. I think that's my comment. Moderator. Well,
Thank you so much, Mr. Sunshine. That's a really elaborative explanation. And yeah, you know, what I heard, what I, you know, like a really point that I, you know, just like, that I can get is like different between lonely and feeling alone. That's the thing. Like, I think like from the session, I can get a quote, you know, that's a really, like, you know, now I can see the difference between two of them. All right, Mr. Miss Fair. What do you think?
Well, in this occasion, if I try to choose between those two, I think it's kind of hard because sometimes I wish I could embrace my own individuality more than fitting myself in the peer groups. But some times we also uh, afraid to feeling left out, so we kind of like try hard to fit ourselves in the peers. But I bet if we have a different groups, you kind of like try to fit yourself in on those different groups. I think I saw a lot of people talk about that when you are with your closest friend, you can act crazily, but when you are with your coworkers, you kind of like have a great personal branding, so you cannot act crazy like with your closest friends. I think we need to a lot of considerations, whether you want to embrace your individuality more or like be selfish perhaps. But you when you have a groups with a certain purpose, so you need to like put aside your selfish feeling or individuality and have kind of like a unite thoughts, something like that.
Yes, I get it. So we have to know like where the place like we have to behave or not, right? Yes. All right. Thank you, Miss Farah. Is there anyone wants to raise their hands and want to speak about it, or you have the same opinion with the others? I think we can move on the next slide. Okay, so the next slide is about a statement. So we're gonna discuss, are you pro or contra with this statement? So the statement is sounds like social media worsen peer pressure by setting unrealistic standard for fitting in. So if social media is really setting unrealistic standard for fitting in, so we got the peer pressure because of it, or it's not. So you contra with the statement above. Or do you believe it, or you're not believe social media is really influence the unrealistic standards like that? Mm, uh, I interest to hear what Mr. Yanwar opinion. Are you there, Mr. Yanwar?
Yeah, I'm just answered this question. Hello.
Do you, hello?
Hello, is my voice is audible?
Yes, clear.
Oh, okay. Uh, Let me answer this. For my opinion, according to my concern about this social media, I think the social media is also is back to the context. Okay, social media sometimes in a good side, sometimes it also have a good influence for our peer or our socialization. I mean, the social media is also give our best chance to make more comprehensive peer group or maybe just like that. But it's also social media is also like a knife. It also has a bad side. Social media sometimes people with their ambition, they also set a so high standard. So when you are in a group, there's someone who set a high standard for the peer group, what is mean requirement maybe. So someone will be offended. So I think the social media is not worse than the pressure. It's also um be, depending to the context where the someone interact with the group. I think that's my answer.
All right, thank you, Mr. Yanuar. So it depends on how we do it on social media itself, right? Okay, Mr.
Yes, yes.
Majalo.
I agree with the previous speaker that it depends to the user. How can they utilize social media? Who are they following? Who is their circle in that social media? Like social media is a tool that we haven't utilized in a proper way. So I believe that social media, since it's a tool, it is not inherently bad or good. It really depends on the user how we use it. Like think of a knife. Is it used for killing or is it used for sliding your bread, right? Like it's a tool. But at the end of the day, we must look what is the current state of the social media. Like if I go to X, if I go to Instagram, are you going to be depressed or are you going to be pressured or are you going to to feed your brain, right? The current social media status is that it's really toxic out there because of the conventional standards put in to a particular woman. There are certain beauty standards. If you're white, your nose is pointy or whatnot. Or for the Instagram users, they are craving for likes, share, because that's how your network would grow. You will have more followers if you have you know if you're showing off your relationship in front of the Eiffel Tower, or in any or in any tourist spot. So I think that the current state of social media, it's not um it's not really for now, right? People are utilizing it in a manner that it's wrong, because there's a lot of fake news, right? It's another topic, but the currently social media right now is, is not really being used in a right manner, to the point that it's going to be inspiring to people, gonna motivate people to wake up 7 a.m. in the morning to exercise, but it's really kind of toxic out there. I think that's the reality.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Margella. I think it depends like what's your explore, what's your home in your Instagram, right? Like what you search and what you saw and how is it?
Yeah, can I add more? I think the reason why I said that it's not currently utilized right now in a proper way, because that's how the the programmers or the programmers use it, like the meta. Like, you cannot really control the algorithm on Instagram. I'm not browsing sexy woman on Instagram, but it's showing women there that are, showing off. So I might get accused of stalking women, but it's just what it is. So I think you cannot really um I think it's unfair to blame on people, right? This is just for me. It is unfair to blame on people that they are kind of victims and hostage of this social media, but it's how probably the one who controls it are maximizing their profits for it's another topic, but I think I'm stating this here for the sake of the conversation.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Mr. Margella. Okay, and move on to Mr. Harris. Yes.
Okay, so I agree with Mr. Magello. The the social media or the internet is very toxic. Some people, they already had those kind of peer pressure, like pretty heavy peer pressure, and then they would saw, like some of their friends doing like something much better than them. They would think minder. So yeah, I do agree with Mr. Magello. Sometimes social media is good for you, sometimes it's bad for you, or even toxic. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Harris, for adding your opinion. Is there anyone who wants to add the opinion? Yes, Mr. Reddy.
Yeah, I also agree with the previous speakers about this. I also have tips how to avoid peer pressure from social media. When I think that my life is under pressure and also desperate, I used to off my social media for a couple of weeks, like 2 weeks or even a month, to avoiding a lot of things, because sometimes social media is really really toxic for our life, because we sometimes compare ourselves to others and many more. But if we think in a positive way, we also have a lot of benefit for using social media, especially how to make a fashion, and then you know how to take a pictures, because uh there is someone who has the best pictures on it. So I think it depends on the situation. So but for me personally, social media break is a must for me. Yeah, so I will delete that application for 2 weeks and then focus to something that I want to achieve at a time. Thank you. I think that I'm so sleepy. Do you mind if I leave earlier?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank
Mr.
you.
for sharing your opinion. Yes. Um. Okay, we move on to Mr. Sunshine.
Okay. I disagree with previous speakers because a lot of people like agreeing one another. I beg to differ, since I believe it's totally us. It's not about the users, but about the social media itself. Because in a way, social media is like indirectly separate the physical or the stronger praises given uh, by our peers. Okay, so face to face or during physical interactions, of course, peer pressure seem so realistic, but social media seems somehow provide us with a space for us whether to engage, whether to leave. We have like a better chance of avoiding the pressures given by our peers. When it comes to realistic standard, of course, it is undeniably exposed to social media. But again, yeah, uh, when it comes to peer pressure, I think from what been exposed by our peers, we can actually assess and accurately avoid what kinds of impacts from what actually happening. I mean, like they post everything to the stories, to the feeds, or to something else like some chats. But I believe this actually reflect a post experience that we learn afterwards. So it's like kind of after effects of the praises given during the among themselves. So I believe that we have a bigger chance. We have a better chance to avoid a chaos, a dispute with them because like the peer pressures um, realizing the worst scenario is like it can spirit us, it can break our relationship or friendships, right? But with social media, I think there have been like a lot of exposures, how everyone share their mindsets, how everyone share their insights on how particularly unrealistic standards can still be avoided with the functions or with the emergence of social media itself. So I would say, simply and shortly, this actually not worsens, but actually provide more realistic uh, pivotal steps for people to prevent themselves being trapped in unrealistic standards deemed or demanded by their peers. I think that's my comment. Thank you.
That's a really great answer, Mr. Sunshine. Like, it's not a word sense, but it's like a step to, like realize the realistic itself in the social media. And I want to share a little bit that, do you know, study Twitter? Like, when like a lot of, student like share their progress on Twitter, like I already done like 4 pages. I already got like 9 score in the tryout, blah blah blah. Because of that, a lot of my friends deactive Twitter. But some friends like including me when I was in junior high school, yeah, I keep my study Twitter. Like there's a different like how we can see the social media itself. Like if you feel like when you open Twitter and you feel like pressure because of the study Twitter, and you feel like, oh, I want to deactive the social media. Oh, it's fine. Uh, as long as you will keep learning by your stuff in your method. But for me, like I will keep studying if I saw anyone there like who study harder, and I will study like that. So I keep my study account there until like I got the high school that I want, right? So I think like a different perspective how you see the social media itself, it can like provide you to be a better person or not, or you can see like it's social media become like a realistic standard, so you can see like, oh, so the realistic that I will face is about that, so I can like I can do that, or like, oh, what the best method that I will do is A, not B. So I think like, yeah, same opinion like with Mr. Sunshine. It's not like a worsens app like that, so it's like, so you can know like yourself better with the social media, I guess. Okay, is there anyone want to ask? I think I want to hear from Mr. Apriya, because it's a long time since I heard your voice. Are you there, Miss Apriya? Miss Apriya? Okay, I think she's not there. Or from Miss Noviani? Do you wanna add something?
Okay, I think I don't think my opinion is worth, but peer pressure is created by ourselves. It's not actually by, like, we can choose that either it's peer pressure or not. For example, like um we saw a pretty girl. We can think that it's She's so unrealistic that I want to be her, but it's possible. But it's just you that think it's a peer pressure. Social media, I think 19% is for fun. So if you take social media seriously, it maybe give you peer pressure, but maybe for some people, for myself, um, it's not really work. Like it's not giving me any peer pressure because uh, I already aware that social media is unrealistic. Social media is only like a bunch of lie. So it's not really worsened from some people, but maybe from other that feel insecure, it could be worsened. That's my opinion. It is all in my thought.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Nafiani. Okay. That's great. I think I have a same thought, like social media is just like, like just like on screen, you don't know like a real what people had that, so just like be cool, man. Like that's I think yeah. Okay, Mr. Ferdinand, please. What do you think about is social media's worsens peer pressure? Hmm?
Okay, it's just an addition. I do agree with your last statement. I think the problem is people on social media always show on the positive side, just the positive side, like achievement or something like that. Although we don't know what exactly what happens behind it, but we've already turned ourselves and feel inferior to others. So I do. I'm in the pro side that sometimes social media worsens peer pressure by setting unrealistic standards for fitting in. Uh, that's for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ferdinand. Yes, because we cannot see like what's the backgrounds on the social media that we saw, right? Okay, I think we can move on the next slide if there's anyone. I feel like a lot of you guys already speak about your opinion. So the next one is about the family. So how do family expectations intersect with peer pressure? Should the family support our individuality or the family's culture? Example like this. So your family is like your mom and your dad is in high school is uh got a join natural science like IPA, but you yourself is want to be in social science class, which is IPA social, and your mom is forcing you. Nah, and so what's your opinion? Should the family support your individuality or the family's culture, or even like like a poor blood in the college? So like your mom and your dad is a doctor, so should the family like um not force, yeah, let's say like you have to fill in their expectation that I have to be a doctor too, or you feels like no, the family should support my individuality like that. Okay, Mr. Harris, what do you think?
I think our individuality, because if we would follow our parents, it's actually good, but we have our own we have our own wants. So I think if we do what we want, sometimes we could exceed from there, succeed from there. Sorry. Uh, so uh, so yeah, just follow what you want. If it's if it's good, it's okay. But it's bad, you shouldn't. That's all from me.
If it's bad, you shouldn't do it. Yeah, I agree with you. So, are you guys having any other opinion that maybe your opinion like I trust my parents more than myself because I feel like I didn't know myself more. Like I feel like I didn't got what I want. I don't know what I want, so I feel like maybe I can go with my parents' opinion or my peers' opinion about like or maybe when you're in a high school or in a college, like you don't know what organization that you want to join, and because you saw your peers join that maybe like a debate organization, and you feel like, oh, I want to am I want to go in that debate, but all of my friends go in that debate organization, but I love to drawing, maybe like that. um what do you think about that? Maybe from let's say me as XXX. What do you think? How should the family's expectation that
It's very difficult question actually. Um, uh, 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 I just think that at the end we know what is good for us, fit for us, and we have we have decision to decide something, right? But yeah, I know that sometimes like because family is like people we love, like they support us whenever our condition is. So to my opinion, like I will, it's totally like depend on the situation, I can say. Uh, yeah, for example, let's say a family, they want someone to be a doctor or want to be very religious or other things, but if the persons don't think that it is good for him or her, like it's not my character. It's not fit me. So I don't feel comfortable with that. So actually, the family, I don't think they can really force. Like they can encourage, but at the end, if the family is like democratic one, I think they will understand. They have expectation, not but not gonna forcing their expectation to the child. Um, yeah, but yeah, and in other way, in seeing this, the individual, they also, I think, like know where the time they should speak or decide in terms of their self, or they need to um, like negotiate or uh, like sometimes the decision is like it's not happy for you, but when you see it like uh, it is it makes the family happy, sometimes you decide it. So I think that's totally depend on the situation and the persons. Yeah, I guess.
yeah, I get it. So like where the time like we use our feeling for the family, and where the time like we use our logical what we want like in individuality like that. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I have that in the situations. Yes. From the other's opinion, do you have something you want to tell? I think from Miss, I think like there's someone who raised their hand, but like just like a couple seconds to, I feel like I can oh, Miss, wait, yeah, Mr. Magello, yes, please.
I want to speak again. So, I think this question is a tale old as time. It's been centuries ago that this is really a topic that has not changed. Like, if a child will follow his or her parents' wishes, or is gonna carve his own destiny. Because actually, most of the people, right, in Indonesia, in society, wherein familial and traditional values are put into as primary, right? That we owe our parents because, well, they are the one who brought us up into this world. So probably we need to give them change, or we owe them something, right? So I think again, I think I we need to emphasize on striking a balance. Like, at least you're making your own path and your own individuality, but at the same time you don't really forget about them. So I think we need to acknowledge that these parents, particularly, some adult age people like in the boomer generation, they really have this kind of mentality that, and we cannot change that in one night. It's really a generational thing. So probably when we are now, the time is now for us, right? That we are now have grandparents or child, we can also say that, because that's how our mind is molded through time. Like we have our set of own perspectives that we think it's right, and for the new generation that it's not. So same as all that, think we need to understand that in that basis, so that we cannot have this crisis in which relationships in the family are getting worse and worse. Because yeah, I think we need to strike a balance on it, because even though we know that they are wrong, we don't need to cut them off primarily just because they have these traditional values, and you have your own probably more open-minded or liberal kind of stance on perspective. You're now gonna cut them off just because you are not in the same page. I think that's kind of wrong on my part. So I think we need to strike a balance. Like we need to set our own path without with our own decisions amidst pressure, and then at the same time still respecting them, and then still acknowledging them as your parents or your grandparents. That's it.
All right, all right. Thank you for Mr. Majella. Um, okay. I didn't realize like the time is like already like we got like so much time left, not so much time left. Okay, I think like tonight we had like a great discussion about peer pressure. It's really like make my minds wide, and I think due to time constraint, I deem it necessary to draw a conclusion of our discussion. I feel like peer pressure is something that abstract, but we can control it. Yeah, this is not something that physically we can see, but it's abstract. We can control it, and depends on the other person. So we cannot like level it. You and me are in the same peer pressure like that. So it's also like peer pressure is this something that basically you can choose. You want to see it in the positive way, or are you like scared of it and you feels like it's negative. I think it's fine. There's no wrong with the peer pressure, so we can judge people like, oh, you see that as a negative peer pressure, so you're bad or something like that. We can judge people like that because other people have their background on it, and um it's different with the others. And yes, so that's how peer pressure itself works, because like it's based on the peer that we had. So um I think I will let everyone or anyone to give their 1 minute summary, maybe like when I add my conclusion, so we can like literally end our discussion, because it's actually like like already a late night, because we start also at the 8:30. Wait, okay. Is there anyone wants to like add some summary or like a conclusion that what you get in here? Basically, for me, I can get like a special like information that I can go through it, like, oh, this is how it works. Like, 'cause I feel like most of you guys are older than me, and I feel like that's really great, advice for me to know what I can do in the future like that. Or maybe like anyone want to add some opinion. Um, ch- let's say Harris, Mr. Harris, what do you think? What's your conclusion about this discussion of the topic?
So yeah, we do need peer pressure so that we have something to challenge us. We don't If we don't have any peer pressure, it would be bad. You know, our minds would go like everywhere. But if we have some peer pressure, we would know like what should we do and what should we do it, but what we should do something so that you know our capabilities are much better than what they're used to. So yeah, that's all for me.
All right, thank you, Haras. Okay, and I would like to say thank you for everyone for being engaging and responding for each slide. And then you guys are very supportive to raise your hand. And I would say we can get all the best from this slide and this discussion. And I would give the time back to the host, Mr. Sunshine, to let end off the discussion. Thank you, everyone. I would like to stop the share screen right. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much for Felisa for leading us. Okay, I positively think that we gain a lot from this discussion, such a fruitful and insightful discussions. I hope that everyone will become even better in managing the peer pressures that happening amidst their life, their circles, their community. And when it comes to feedback, probably like some of you mentions like I become influenced by that. You can say like I was influenced, yeah, or partially influenced by that. And seiring waktu berjalan can also be alternatively translated or interpreted into as time flies by or as time goes by. Okay, more deep should be like more deeply or deeper. Okay, I think that's the feedback that I can give now. I just want to provide appreciations to our moderator. Wait a moment. Okay, so here it is. All right. Okay,
Oh.
so yeah, so congratulations, and I would like to say thank you so much for our moderator Feliza for leading us. Yeah, these discussions is will never be happening unless with the chairman of our Feliza. Okay, we're going to make a screenshot first from this. Wait a moment, I'm going to. Okay, wait. Okay, how do I do this? Okay, do it like this. Wait, yeah. How to make it big? Okay, I think it's enough to make it like this. Yeah, I'm going to take the photos. 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. Okay, I think that's all for the the rewarding session. Now I'm asking you all to open up your camera. Okay, so that I can like making photos to all of you who have been joining our sessions until now. All right. What about Miss Triple X, Mr. Ferdinand? Oh my God, Mr. Yanwar. Okay. Unfortunately, Mr. Ho unable to join us. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to take the screenshots. Okay. Okay, I'm going to count in 1, 2, 3. Okay. And once again, on the count of 1, 2, 3. All right. Oh my God, that's cool. Okay, I think that's all. Oh yeah, one more time with freestyle. Okay. Okay, so yeah, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Okay, anyone, thank you so much for attending the discussions. I think it's very interesting, and I hope that I can see you again next week in much more interesting discussion. So see you and I see you, and bye bye. Yeah, and the last we say hello ta, and we say yesterday. We say
We say tomorrow.
tomorrow. Okay. Okay, everyone. See you. Bye bye. Thank you. Melissa. Thank you,
Bye. See
everyone.
Bye.
everybody.
Cheers.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
See
you.
you.
See
Have a nice
ya.
day.
Have a nice
Bye.
day.